Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk briefly about a Harvard Business Review article that I read recently around high-performing teams and what leaders need to do to support them with psychological safety. It actually is close to something we went over in a previous video, so that's why this one will be very quick. I just think it's worth the mention. So what does a leader need to do to motivate high-performing teams and give them a safe environment? Number one, be a collaborator, not an opponent. I think it's very important in these situations for a leader to allow the team to participate. So you become a collaborator, not a micromanager. That way, everybody brings their best game and brings their best ideas. And typically, a group full of people can come up with better ideas and better solutions than one person on their own. Number two is speak human to human. If you're always talking from a position of authority, even though you may be working with professional teams that have a large history and large background, those folks have a lot of authority and a lot of knowledge as well that comes from their experience. So speaking human to human, just one person to another, and respecting and reflecting on what they're saying, as opposed to being so doggedly on the boss like you have all the right ideas all the time, is definitely a great way to keep those teams motivated. Three is anticipate reactions and plan counter moves. So basically, in front of your team, you don't want to seem combative. If you're planning and anticipating reactions to what could come up for subject matter that you plan to review with your team, those counter moves, doing that in a way that makes sense and that you have support and you have key points around and you have reasons or the reasoning for each, or why you think for each, it allows you to come across as supportive and understanding versus just openly combative when you have that stuff prepared and you're prepared for any side of any argument or any consideration. Number four, replace blame with curiosity. I think that's a huge call out. In my past, one of the folks that I liked working with the least was someone that was always trying to find blame, find somebody to blame, find a scapegoat, find a fall guy. Long story short, in operations, stuff's going to go wrong every single day. And if you don't think anything's going wrong today, you're not paying attention. So if you're spending all your time trying to find blame, that doesn't do anything to structure or change the situation to improve the situation, or reflect on root cause and see what caused the issue so you can address the problem in the first place. So I think that's a huge call out. Replace blame with curiosity. Be curious on why things went the way they did. Be curious on why the team reacted the way it did. And be curious on the root cause and what created the whole problem. Number five is ask for feedback on how you communicate. One of the things I think has worked best in my tenure as a leader is the fact that I ask for feedback at least once a week. So on Fridays, typically I would have all my direct reports. I'd call them individually for three reasons. One, I didn't want to take anything from the work week into the weekend. I wanted to be able to let them vent whatever issues they had, whatever concerns they had, and take care of those. Two, I wanted to make sure they were in a good place and see if they had any big plans for the weekend to kind of navigate that off work mentality, so they know that it's fine to release the work week and try to have some time off to recharge and plan that accordingly. And number three is the feedback I wanted to get on how I handled something specifically, or if they have any specific concerns or critiques on things that I had going on in the week. It's an open call. I invite the information, and basically week after week, that gives you an opportunity to improve so you don't run the same problems the next week. And the sixth measure for high-performing teams to perform in psychological safety would be measure psychological safety. Ask those questions. See if people feel threatened or underappreciated. Find out what that feels like to them. Ask if they feel like they're a valuable member of the team and they feel like they contribute regularly. If that's the case and they do feel like they contribute, you are allowing them to give you feedback. You are being curious instead of placing blame. You are anticipating reactions so you can respond appropriately with thoughtful processes, not emotional responses. You are speaking human to human, where you value them as an individual and you value what they bring to the team and their contribution. And you are being a collaborator and not an opponent, so everybody knows that they're equally yoked and trying to fix the problems and solve the problems together. That has the capacity to be a safe environment psychologically, but also be extremely supportive and extremely motivating to the teammates within that environment. I think it's a great call out. That was in the Harvard Business Review this week. Take a look at the article. It's pretty good. And those are the key points and some of my notes on that feedback. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Please share to those that might enjoy it as well. Please feel free to share it on your social media, any of these videos that stand out to you. I deeply appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel. That'd be greatly helpful. Be good.